Hello and welcome to Colred Plays Raid Shadow Legends. I am Colred. Thank you for joining me. So Siege doesn't drop this week. It drops next Tuesday. That is a week from tomorrow. However, we're going to start talking about it now because not only are we going to probably need 2 weeks to talk about Siege, but this is the topic that's on everybody's minds. And also, I do believe that this week is the week where most of those tactical discussions are going to happen in clans. Players are going to start finalizing their defenses in preparation for the event to drop next Tuesday. In addition, this is Monday, so that means I have your NoFail Weekly Plan, and there are several wrinkles in the schedule this week, so you're going to want to stick around for that. I hope you're ready for it. Let's get started. Just a quick reminder, tomorrow is Takeover Tuesday. I go live at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, that is -4 UTC for those of you outside of the US. And I give away free account takeovers to members of my Discord community. So if you are interested in a free takeover, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you get notifications when I go live. And also consider joining our Discord community because you need to be a member in order to be eligible. While you're down there, don't forget to smash that like button. Thanks so much for the support. I hope to see you tomorrow. Now let's get back to our video. Okay, so I'm not going to give a complete breakdown of Siege mode. I think there's so much information out there. If you've watched the 2 videos, you know it's a very in-depth system, and it could take several videos to actually break down all of Siege mode. So what I'm going to do is start with sort of a brief overview, show you the actual Siege mode in-game, talk about a couple of things that I've figured out, and then give you some resources so you can continue to do your research for your clan or for yourself to decide how you want to get involved with Siege mode. Let's start by clicking on the battle button here and going to the Siege mode here in game. You can see there is a new area. By the way, it says that we're in prep now for a week and 11 hours. This is just the default state. We're always in prep unless an active fight is happening or you're in matchmaking. So basically you're going to have, 12 days of prep every 2 weeks. So you have plenty of time to get in here and figure out what's what and set up your defenses. So let's start with the map. I like the cool visual. I think the map is pretty cool. There are also some interesting tactical choices with some choke points, some outlying buildings. We're going to talk about all of that in just a second. If you watched the video, or if you didn't, maybe you skipped the video because there was too much, maybe you just didn't understand it. There is an in-game guide. Here you click on the information, the I button up here at the top of the screen, and it will take you to a relatively comprehensive in-game guide. It's a long read. I've read through it twice myself now. It's a bit dense, but there's a lot of good information there. It will tell you a lot of what's happening. It's a little bit cluttered with information I don't really care that much about, like, how the matchmaking system is done and whatever. Like, it's good to know, but really, I just want to know how the fights go. So here you can see we have a prep phase overview, a description of the buildings, how you defend a building, how you upgrade a building, what the upgrading gets you, how you set a defense team. So all the information is in here in this guide. I highly recommend you come here and check this out. There are still a few pieces of information that we're not going to learn probably until Siege goes live and we can actually experiment with it. I'm going to talk a little bit about those things as well. But like I said, this is basically a pretty comprehensive guide. If you can get through it, great. If you don't think that you can get through it, you do have another option, and I'll take you to that right. So if you come here to hellhades.com and you click on articles, you just want to scroll down until you find the July 10th article for Siege Battle Tactics. You can click on that, and the HH Gaming crew has created an article here that is a bit more streamlined. It's just the bare bones information that you need to know in order to be able to participate in Siege. So if you are overwhelmed by the videos or by the document in-game, the in-game guide we were just looking at, you can always come here just as sort of a teaser, as a little bit of an appetizer to get yourself started on understanding how the Siege mode works. Okay, so basically the Siege mode is a stronghold defense or a fortress defense type competition. Each clan, when matched up, will be defending their stronghold and attacking their enemy stronghold. The defenses are set beforehand. The attacks are what happen in real time. Each location on the map can be defended. Buildings can be defended by more than one team, and you can upgrade these locations. You can see here to get more defensive team slots. You can also get various bonuses for various buildings that will allow you to empower your defensive teams or potentially to limit the characteristics of the attacking team. So just like in Centranos or in Doom Tower secret rooms where, you can only put together teams of certain factions or certain roles, there's going to be a similar mechanic working here in the stronghold, or in the fortress, I should say. The whole thing is the fortress. The stronghold is just like the headquarters up here. Now, a couple of things that you need to know about this. In order to win, you must take your enemy stronghold. You must defeat the enemy stronghold. And then you must also get more victory points than the enemy. So if the enemy doesn't defeat your stronghold, if you successfully defend your stronghold and you take theirs, you're probably going to win regardless of the victory points. But if both teams take the enemy stronghold, then the team with more victory points is going to win. Now, as you can see, each location is worth a number of victory points. And so even though there are some of these locations that seem kind of out of the way and not really on the path towards the stronghold, or they're not very valuable, if it comes down to a battle for victory points, every single location is going to matter, which also factors into this second piece. No location can be left undefended. You do not have to manually enter a defense. There is a reserve team. For each and every player in your clan, you will have a reserve team, and these reserve teams will be placed automatically in any buildings that have been left empty. So there's no way to artificially reduce the number of victory points that are available to your enemy. So if you're like, we're only going to fill half the buildings and that way they can only get half the victory points, that's not an option because these reserve teams will be placed in there for you. Now, you do have manual control over these reserve teams, so you can set up what you want your reserve team to be. But something that you should know is each defensive champion can only be used one time, so they can't be used in multiple locations. And each player has to use a defensive scroll in order to place a team. So right now we only have 2 defensive scrolls, so each player will be able to place 2 defensive teams. On offense, it looks like we'll get 4 attack scrolls and then some counterattack scrolls or revenge scrolls or something. I don't know exactly how that works, but that means that you're going to be able to attack more times than there are defensive teams. So if the attackers are 100% successful, they will definitely overwhelm the entire enemy fortress. But I assume that that's going to be difficult to do. Something to be aware of on offense is that each champion can only be used twice. So realistically, you're going to need at least 2 very good teams. In addition, remember, there are some restrictions on what champions you can use in what locations. So I highly recommend that when you see that the match goes live and you can see your enemy's fortress, take a little bit of time to look around and see what restrictions are in different places so that you can plan where to use your champions. Now, one thing that the guide didn't answer is where the fight actually starts. I have my suspicions. I believe that the guide said that you can't fight a location until you unlock the locations in front of it. So it's linear. You have to progress through locations to get to the ones behind them. So for instance, you're not going to be able to attack this stronghold until you beat this defense tower, right? You're going to have to beat that defense tower first to get to the path to the stronghold. So that means that it seems most likely we're going to start our fight out here at post 2, at post 3 in the middle of the bay there, or the harbor, and then at post 5. You can see there are siege engines around these gates in the walls. So those would be the likely entry points. So I think there are going to be 3 entry points. It's possible that, say, post 4 and post 1 are also entry points. I don't think that's as likely. I don't see a way to get there, but maybe you can go over the walls. I don't know. So we're going to have to see, but I think it's highly likely that the gates and the port are going to be the entry points for our teams. That means you will have to defeat these early locations in order to progress up towards the more valuable buildings in the back. Now, one thing about Clan Siege Mode that is readily apparent is this is going to put an increased burden on the leaderships of all of our clans. Like the officers, the clan leaders, the deputies, the lieutenants, everybody is going to have to step up and get more involved because organizing this, especially with the in-game tools, is going to be really hard. All we basically have is clan chat in-game, and that's not enough. So hopefully you are part of a Discord community with your clan. If not, you may want to get a Discord community set up. And if you are a player, I would highly recommend 2 things. One is be patient with your leadership, and 2, communicate your feelings about Siege as clearly as possible. Let them know what your involvement is going to be. I suspect there is going to be a shuffling of players and clans based on this game mode. Some people are not going to like this game mode at all. Others are going to be highly motivated to get involved. And those players may be in the same clans. And remember, if you've been a clanmate for a year and you've been doing great in CVC and Hydra Clash and whatever, that doesn't necessarily mean that your clanmates are going to want to do this game mode or that they're not. So be patient with each other as well. In addition to being patient with your leadership, let's extend grace to each other and not get too riled up. There are going to be disagreements, and it may just mean that either we're not all going to be satisfied with the way our clans approach this game mode, or we're going to have to set off in search of new clans that match our own ambitions. So be patient with each other, be kind to each other. Don't get too wrapped up in this. Ultimately, every gamer should game the way they find most enjoyable. And so we may have to just recognize that that means people are going to be leaving clans and switching clans because of this game mode. Okay, so that is it for the Siege portion of the video. I want to get onto our no-fail weekly plan. I mentioned there are a couple of wrinkles this week going on, so I want to jump right to the calendar so I can show you what I mean. So as you can see, we are here on Monday, and the calendar goes blank on Thursday. We have no information about what happens between Thursday the 18th and next Tuesday when Siege launches, right? So we do know that we have the events that are finishing up the Packmaster Shayak Fusion Award. So that our Fusion event. So that's going to be the Spider Tournament, the Dungeon Divers Tournament, and the Artifact Enhancement. We're also going to talk about this Desired Summon Pool event. And then we have the Clan v Clan tournament that starts in about 12 hours. That is no personal rewards this week, but it does look like we're going to have that every other week schedule moving forward with CVC and Clan Siege. So we're going to have CVC this week, Siege next week, CVC the following week, Siege the following week after that. So we'll be alternating between these two clan versus clan events. So what does this blank calendar mean for us? Well, remember that over the past several months, maybe 3/4 of a year, Plarium has been following up fusion events with one of three things: a Titan event, a Hero's Path, or a Deck of Fate. So we are likely to see one of those three events dropping probably on Thursday in that blank spot, maybe Friday, but maybe even as early as Wednesday, because as soon as the Packmaster Fusion event is over, we are going to see an event with a Packmaster Soul. That's just the path that we've seen, the pattern that we've seen over the last 8 or 9 or 10 months or so. I don't know what the event is going to be. I don't think that Plarium has announced it yet. So your guess is as good as mine. If I had to guess, I would expect either a Hero's Path or a Deck of Fate, because a Titan event is usually a 2-week event. And I think with Siege coming up, they're not as likely to start a new Titan event, but I could be wrong. Who knows? So we'll have to wait and see. So what that means is for the next couple of days, if you are already done with the Fusion event, you have a little bit of time to prepare for what is coming. Save your resources. I would definitely avoid this Progressive Chance event, because some of these events are, these Heroes Paths and these Deck of Fates are shard related. And so if they're offering a 6-star soul for Packmaster, that could be highly valuable for people. So you may want to consider that. But also, even if it's not a shard event, you may need a lot of energy. You may need a lot of gems in order to get the event done, whatever it happens to be. So just be aware of that before you start spending things over the next couple of days. Okay, so back into the game, there are a couple of things to look at this week. First of all, we have a nice free gift here from Plarium. You go to the limited special offers, and we have a Siege gift. We have a Siege gift. It is broken up into 3 days, but you can see it's a very nice gift. We have a 5-star chicken. We have a legendary tome and 1,000 energy. Plus, we also get this magnificent artifact chest. Now, I don't love the way they're using chests in the game currently, but I would say as far as the chests go, this is a pretty good one. We have artifacts from 10 different sets here, and they're all good sets. They're all usable sets. I think the weakest is probably Retaliation, but we have Speed and Divine Speed. There is Savage here, Cruel, Immortal, Cursed, Reflex, Regen, Stun as well. So I definitely all usable sets, all sets that you want to have, and you're going to get 10 of them, but they're going to be random. you do have a 10% chance of a mythical piece and a 68% of a 6-star piece. So this is a high chance to get some 6-star gear and nothing below 5-star. So hopefully some good usable pieces for you in this chest. And again, it's completely free, so just be aware of that. In addition, if you need some energy to finish out your spider tournament or your dungeon divers event or any champion training or anything like that, you're going to have some energy over the next couple of days. We do have a soul summon pool event that is going on. So this is sort of the equivalent of a prism shard event, but now we have prism stones, I guess, prism soul stones. So we're looking for these quartz, these prism quartz, and this will guarantee you either an epic or legendary soul. They could be as low as 2 stars, as high as 6 stars. You can look here and it gives you the rates. So you got a decent chance of a 6-star soul at 5.5% and a 28% chance of a legendary. No rares and no mythicals here. So I think, you know, the rares and the mythicals are the least appealing souls because rares we don't use that much and we don't all have that many mythical champions. So 28% chance of a legendary soul is pretty good. As far as I see on the schedule so far, there is only one event, so we can only get one Prism Soulstone pull for free. And that is here. It is a Sand Devil Turn Attack Tournament. This would be a pretty good place to put some energy over the next couple of days if you're not burning too hot, because remember, we might have like a Hero's Path or something coming on Wednesday or Thursday. But this actually runs for a couple of days. It is a fairly high point total, 6,300, but it's a turn attack tournament. So remember that the points are different here for turn attacks. Check out your team, see what you're getting. You can calculate the energy. Sometimes you can do this with a lot less energy than a regular tournament. Sometimes it's more, depends on, you know, how many turns your team takes. Now, this event is going on for 3.5 more days. So there may be a second event that is added in a day or two. We don't know. So there might be an additional Soulstone pull, but I do think that the pool is pretty good. I'm hoping for a 5 or 6 star soul for Newt, because I currently only have a 2-star soul and he's absolutely amazing. So obviously if I could get the bigger soul, even a 4-star soul would be great for him because that's the extra 38% crit damage. Be fantastic. I could also use a soul for Wixwell, one of the recent fusions. I have no soul at all for Wixwell, but really good champions, good epics as well. So hopefully you get yourself a good free 5 or 6-star soul, or even maybe a good 3 or 4-star soul. It's nothing to shake a stick at. Okay, so that is it for all of the unique aspects of this week. Let's go ahead and get into our timers that we see every week, our regularly scheduled events. Let's call them that. Okay, so we're going to start with the clan button as we always do. Remember, clan quests end in just under 10 hours here. So you're going to want to pick up any. If you haven't finished them yet, I highly recommend just coming in here, trying to get a little extra clan gold. The clan shop is also closing. I just picked up a legendary tome and a void shard, and those will go away at the end of the day. But whatever level your clan happens to be, there's likely something in here for you to pick up that will help out your account. As is always the case on Monday, the arena just reset last night. That means Tag Team Arena is done and Classic Arena is done, and we are into a new cycle. So if you need to change your defenses, go ahead and do that. We have a day and a half left on Hydra. Remember that 4-hour difference between Hydra Clash and the Hydra Key reset? I talked about it in last week's video, and some of the commenters left some comments that made me think, I believe the best explanation of that 4-hour gap is that it gives players time to change clans and still qualify for the following week's clash. So if you finish your clash in your current clan, and then you switch clans in that 4-hour window, then you can still qualify for your new clan's new clash, right? And I do think that people are going to be changing clans this week with Siege, with the advent of Siege. Some people are just not going to be excited about the way their clan is handling it. So be aware that that 4-hour window is your best opportunity. For me, it's like 4 to 8 a.m. It's really bad. It's or 3 to 7 a.m. is a really bad time, but that does give you a free window to change. If you change outside that window, you're going to be locked out of at least one clash rotation. So be aware of that if you decide to change clans this week. The Doom Tower rotation is winding down. I mentioned this last week, but it's something I'll repeat this week. You do get points for using keys in Doom Tower for CVC. So if you have not yet cleared your secret rooms, you can hold on to your secret rooms until tomorrow when CVC is live. Clear your secret rooms and get yourself a whole bunch of extra silver keys, and then you can farm bosses and get some free CVC points there. And also, of course, get your fragments for the champions. And maybe you want to pull those champions during the CVC, or maybe you want to hold it for a personal reward CVC. I'd recommend that. Or even keep it for a champion chase for a fusion in the future. Cursed City is still relatively in a new rotation here. I haven't used my keys yet today, although I've been pretty good about them. I try to hit hard mode first, and then if I either run out of time or I can't push too easily, I'll come here to normal mode just to clear out some keys more quickly, because I can clear out most of these locations in under a minute, other than the bosses. One other thing to consider with this is if you have the advanced quest for using 2 keys in Centranos, remember that you can repeat areas that you've already cleared out. So if you have maxed out your progression and you can't open up any new nodes, that's okay. You can still just go back to something you've already cleared, clear 2 of those things, and that will complete the advanced quest. So yes, if you have that advanced quest, you can always do it as long as you can complete 1 node in Cursed City, because you could just do that node twice and then you're all set. I do want to call out this Forge Pass as well. Don't forget about the Forge Pass. Something that I didn't know at first about this Forge Pass and was pointed out to me is that you can see these 2 dots down here underneath the armor set. That means that you can scroll there. And so if you scroll to the right, there are in fact 2 sets available from this Forge Pass, a Defiant set and a Righteous set, which is why we are getting materials for both sets. You can see here are their Defiant chunks in addition to the Righteous alloys. So we are getting Forge materials for 2 different sets. I actually think the Defiant set is about as good a set as there is in the game, maybe the best defensive set in the entire game. Righteous is not a bad set. It's certainly a good set, but it's not on par with Defiant. But it's worth getting both sets of Forge materials. And I would also say, I'm not a spender, but if I were going to spend, I would highly consider this $19.99 for the gold pass for the Forge set for this particular rotation, because you're going to get materials for both sets, and you're going to get a 6-star legendary set of each armor set. So really pretty good value here. I don't know if that's always the case. Let me know in the comments below. If I've just been blind this entire time and there's always 2 sets available, I feel like there's only usually 1. Anyway, that's a little bit different with this Forge set. And again, do your daily challenges. Oh, I always come here and check these challenges right at the beginning of the day, so that if there's any weird one, like, I have to fight arena battles with a Force champion and I don't typically run a Force champion, then I can make sure to get it out of the way. These challenges are never difficult, but they're easy to miss. So just a quick reminder to come and check these out as soon as the reset happens. Okay, one last time, remember, CVC is not personal rewards this week. It'll probably be personal rewards in 2 weeks. Usually they switch every other week, but they usually announce that in their Discord server or in the Raid Digest. So you can always become a member of the official Raid Discord and then find out that information like several days in advance. And you don't have to wait for my video every week, but I will always mention it because I always check their Discord server. Okay, that is it today. Let me know in the comments below. Are you excited for Siege Mode? Do you think your clan is excited for Siege Mode? Are you going to be moving locations? And in fact, if you are, I have a clan cluster. It's the Colred Plays clan cluster. We have 5 clans. We're actually mostly full up, but I think out of those 5 clans, we might have something like 8 or 9 or 10 open spots right now. We'd love to fill them for Siege. So if you're looking for an active clan, consider ours. All right, thanks so much for hanging out. I have been Colred, and I will see you in another video soon.